Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of our tutorial series. Today's tutorial will focus on fully automatic pumpkin and melon farms. So let's get straight into it then, shall we? We'll talk about the villager at the end. So the first thing you want to kind of think about when you're doing pumpkin and melon farms is, first of all, where's the observer block going to be? Because you can't put the observer block behind it, because what happens when you push a piston into a pumpkin or a melon, for example, if I put this one here and get myself a lever, the item breaks. So that's the first mechanic you guys will specifically want to look at when setting up one of these farms, which it means that every single pumpkin and melon seed that you plant, you're going to need one single piston per set, which means the observer block is going to have to go above it. So that leads us on to this one over here, where we've set this one up like this, so much so. Let's remove this first of all while I plant them, because as soon as we set this up properly, you'll notice a second problem arises when you put them in. So, say this third one grows, you kind of get this, which, let's shut that off because that's very annoying and very loud. Essentially, the piston block head updates the observer as well, which means that this redstone signal will infinitely trip itself out. You effectively create yourself a very fast and very loud ticking clock. So the only way to counteract this really is to go over to this one here, which has been designed with a pulse extender. Well, it's not really a pulse extender, it's a one-tick pulse almost. It kind of holds the pulse long enough that the piston head will not affect the observer block. It will detect it, but this redstone block, which powers the back line of redstone, which activates the pistons, will not be pulled back twice. So as you will see here, if we set it to 1 tick of delay, that effectively is a 0 tick. It still has the same problem, like that. So if we set it to 2 ticks though, you'll notice the system kind of, well, resets itself. So if we try this again, you notice that the piston moves very quickly. Let's try and do that so you guys can see it. There you go. So kind of, we've got this one repeater here to push the piston activating. It activates it with this quasi-connectivity. It doesn't work on the new Bedrock edition of the game. Obviously, a way to counteract this would be to raise the piston up by a block and have it level with this repeater. Not a real big issue to fix, because all it means is that the redstone on this block here will be 1 higher. You just raise it up and then everything will be fine. This is a very Pocket Edition / Windows 10 Edition friendly redstone device. So that leads us on to the final design, which we've got over here, which is basically just an extended version of this. We've got 2 pieces of obsidian here just on either side to kind of cut it out. Now, you'll be all saying this is not a fully automatic farm, and it's not, because you have no way of collecting the pumpkins and melons when they activate. So let's first of all deactivate this farm while we plant some stuff. Say that these are melons, that's melon, pumpkin, so forth and so forth. Let's first of all put this back in. But what you'll notice is, great, everything is there, but you'll look where everything lands. It lands inside the crops, which makes everything really awkward to move. So, if we move on to the final thing that we're going to add to this, this is a minecart track which runs underneath. You will need a hopper. In fact, you'll need 2 hoppers, because you have to have a second hopper under the wall here. If you put the chest there, the minecart will register the chest and the hopper at one time, and then it will just stop on this block. If I took out the hopper underneath here, the minecart will just not run. So if we put that in there, it will go all the way back, and it will just kind of do this. It doesn't really go all the way against it, and it just doesn't work properly. You'll end up with it going too quickly to pick items up. So let's grab ourselves a hopper again. Let's see if we can place this by breaking that. There, okay, so that's fine. Now we need ourselves another powered rail again. Let's just push that back into position. Oh no, I didn't break the power rail, I thought I had. We need the 2 blocks that were holding it in position. So if we do this and then that, it should cover it fine. And then what it actually does, but you can't see it because it's running on this powered rail. It might make it easier if I turn this to a normal rail for a second. But essentially what it does is it picks up the items which is on the block above it, which is what you used to kind of see on the PC edition. So as you notice, you take that out and it doesn't work. So you do need it on both sides. It's just a visual glitch for where it doesn't work. So we place that down there on the tracks and leave it running. And we'll just give it a push, otherwise it's not going to work. Next up, what we're going to have to do to complete this farm, and I hate the shift clicking of pumpkins, it goes straight to your head for some reason. So, we've obviously put our line of pistons in the background. Let's just fill this back in right here. Get ourselves a hoe and some seeds. We're also going to need some bone meal, which is on this page right here. We need ourselves a hoe, it doesn't matter, diamond hoe, whatever. We're also going to need to put some water down at the front of it just to keep this stuff hydrated. But as long as you've got fully grown plants, they shouldn't pop themselves back up again. You'll notice that you don't have farms which ruin themselves by breaking. You will need to get 2 blocks on either side, and then something has to go here, preferably a slab above the water. Otherwise, you will get the problem that stuff starts to grow in the wrong place. So let's grab ourselves a bucket of water right here, have it like this all the way across, and even grab a couple slabs. It doesn't have to be a slab, you can put a trapdoor, whatever. I'm just trying to find stuff that actually matches. So let's kind of place this across the top. It's just essentially something to stop your melons as also going into the water. As you notice here, we've got some in the water. It just makes the farm that little bit more efficient. So to copy this design then, all we need to do now is place in the observer blocks, which if we get them in the right place, not throwing it into the hopper below might be a good shout. So let's just place them like this. We will remove the ones underneath afterwards. It's just much easier for me to place them in. There we go. So you've got that like that. Then all you need is a redstone line above it to cover everything like so. Then when you get over here, we're going to have to take out a couple of these blocks just so we've got the space to work with. We're going to need ourselves a repeater. We're going to need ourselves a sticky piston, a normal piston, a redstone block, obviously a second repeater, and just a line of redstone for the back. So obviously I've pre-placed all this grass black here. You can't place the redstone dust on the pistons because when the piston activates, it will throw the redstone dust off. Now we also need some placement blocks. So let's grab this one here. We're going to put that there. We're also going to put a block here with our redstone repeater on it. Then we're going to place the sticky piston here. And if you're on the bedrock version, just obviously, like I've said, raise the piston to this height instead. It should just work fine. All you'll have to do is raise this redstone dust up by 1 block as well. So then we want to come over to this side and we want to place in a normal piston facing back to front. Place in 2 more blocks here, 1 dust there, 1 repeater on 2 ticks there. So that is pretty much the entire farm done. And now obviously if we go back round to the front again and we make, it doesn't really matter what block we grab, let's grab a pumpkin. As you can tell, the pumpkin has been harvested and it has dropped into our chest over here. Obviously the observer block is in there as well. Place another pumpkin for example, place another one there, 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 there. And as you can tell, the pumpkins are all filtering into the chest at the side, which is accessible from the floor. So this is actually a 2-block drop, then the chest is on the 3rd block down. But yes, this is the automatic pumpkin and melon farm. Obviously, the best thing to do when you get hold of pumpkin and melons is to go and see one of these guys right here, because they have usually decent trades. I'm looking at the wrong ones. So this one guy has 13 pumpkins and the best trade for melons, which is an 8 melons. Really good for collecting emeralds. Obviously, the best trade you can get on both is 8 per stack, creating 8 emeralds per stack of an item. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've all enjoyed, and I guess I will see you all again in the next one. Bye-bye.